Hello everyone and welcome to today's Daily Splat. Now today is the 25th of January 2011 and that means that tomorrow here in Australia it is Australia Day, which is basically the sort of hooray, this is Australia kind of day, which basically commemorates the arrival of the first fleet of settlers from Great Britain who came over to Australia to colonise it as part of the British Empire. Now, depending on your political views, it is also called Invasion Day, because obviously this was the day that all the boats came in and the original inhabitants of the land, the Aboriginal people, basically it was the beginning of a very unpleasant time for them, which has continued pretty much up until today, I'd argue, but that's another story. Anyway, I'll probably do one on Australia Day tomorrow. Anyway, with Australia Day coming up, I figured it would be nice, obviously, to make a book recommendation that fits in quite nicely with it. So, lo and behold, I present to you the excellent Down Under by Bill Bryson. Now then, Bill Bryson is an American writer who lived for a long time in Great Britain. He's now living back in America, and he often writes about places he's been. And he's a very, very, very funny man. He has some very good writing. And this was a book he wrote about his trips to Australia, just sort of on holiday. And he makes some very interesting findings. And he does travel all around. You know, he goes to Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, you know, Adelaide, all those sorts of places. I'll just read you the blurb, just see if it can entice you in. It is the driest, flattest, hottest, most infertile and climatically aggressive of all the inhabited continents, and still Australia teems with life, a large portion of it quite deadly. In fact, Australia has more things that can kill you in a very nasty way than anywhere else. Ignoring such dangers, Ignoring such dangers, and yet curiously obsessed by them, Bill Bryson journeyed to Australia and promptly fell in love with the country. And who could blame him? The people are cheerful, extrovert, quick-witted and unfailingly obliging. Their cities are safe and clean and nearly always built on water. The food is excellent, the beer is cold, and the sun nearly always shines. Life doesn't get much better than this. And he tours around talking about, how great the country is. He also does talk about some of the less excellent sides of it, such as the way he was shocked the way certain Australian people view the Aboriginal population, and he does talk about that a bit as well. But it's a really, really good book, particularly if you want to get to know Australia. I actually was given this book by a former teacher of mine at high school, because I went back to my old high school to do a talk about getting ready to go into university, because I was in university at the time and telling them what to expect. And I got this as a sort of thank you for coming in and doing that. And I'd been living in Australia, I got this in 2007, so I've been living here about 3 years when I got this, and I still felt, very, it still didn't feel, I obviously, I was very happy here living in Perth, but Australia still felt, and to an extent it does still feel a little bit like a very strange place to me, but obviously now I'm much more in tune, I think, with the country and how I feel living here. I'd certainly consider, Perth to be my home, and certainly where I would like to live, for a very long time. It's a lovely place. But yes, now this book I found, having recently sort of moved here, to be quite good. And if you are listening or watching this from overseas, yes, come visit. You're always welcome. Might want to be a bit careful around Brisbane roundabout now. It's a little bit submerged, but it'll be fine soonish. About a year's time, you'll be fine. But yes, now please come by. And yes, if you want to know more about Australia, and I'd recommend this to Australian people as well, to see how your country is viewed by somebody from overseas. This is a very good book, so it looks like this, or at least this edition does. There you go, Bill Bryson, Down Under is the book recommendation for today. That is all from the Daily Splatt. Thank you all for listening, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.